Howdly doodly diddly doodly.
Good evening, infidels. Nice. What's going on, everybody? This is the happiest place on earth. Welcome back to the Battle Bros podcast with Mac and Alamo. I am Mac. This handsome SOB over here is Alamo. Welcome to the Thunderdome. I know we're just full of cliches, but we try to have fun with what we're doing here. I mean, if you watch our first episode, it was cringeworthy. Now it's just like, yeah. What kind of nonsensical shit are we going to get into this week?
I would like to say that the Battle Bros, they've kind of found their stride. That's kind of how I think of it.
Thank you, Peter. See, that's great if you're not listening to us on a podcast source as opposed to watching us because you just saw him do that. And it's just like, they got Peter Griffin on the show? What the fuck? Yeah. So how the hell are you, everybody? We're glad to see you back. Thanks for stopping by. If you join us for the first time, hopefully you like it. Hopefully you'll check us out on a regular. If you're coming back, glad to have you back. Please keep the love coming our way. We appreciate it. And we're thrilled to have you here with us. So how you doing there, brother?
Doing out fucking standing.
Except for that dog yapping in the background.
Yeah. The Battle Bow is tenacious, to say the least. He don't give up.
That was a great plug, by the way. I freaking love that. That's awesome.
That's what I'm here for, brother.
He is refusing to let the obstacle get in his way, yet he won't seek help.
The obstacle being a freaking 60-pound freaking Grayador that he continuously attacks, and let's just say she doesn't like it very much because now she's getting a taste of her own medicine.
Aha. Yeah. So she won't jump on me the next time I come out your way. Fantastic. Oh, that's rough. So, so if you're joining us for the first time, we're just two guys that have known each other for a long damn time. We both served in the military, albeit slightly different ways. He was active duty. I was in the reserve component, the National Guard here in Florida for a little while. We have remained friends throughout that time, and we talk about military and veteran lifestyle and other nonsensical shenanigans and shite that is related to it. So hopefully you like what we're talking about, and welcome. So if you caught our show last week, we're going to jump right into it. So if you caught our show last week, again, a very special shout out and thanks to Jerry Strickland. We had a special guest by the name of Jerry Strickland from Mission 22, which is an organization that is all about stopping and preventing veteran suicide, military member suicide, and also they go one step further in providing ways to kind of combat that. They talked about having
lots of care options. It's pretty fucking sweet, and the thing that I liked about it the most was that there are holistic. They're all, for the most part, holistic forms of treatment. Like they're not trying to get you to a doctor who's going to try and give you like 50 medications to keep you kind of like
mental zombie. Like you come out of the, like, no offense to the VA, but sometimes you come out of there and it's like you're smuggling maracas in your pockets. It's like, okay, that's not good. That's not good. I got a maraca in my pocket. It's not like a rap song. Never mind, you don't get that reference. But anyway, so Mission 22 is a great organization. They are doing very good stuff, and we appreciate that. And special shout out to Jerry for coming on the show last week. Jerry, you're a badass dude. I like you a lot. I haven't even met you yet, but there's going to be some awkward bromance hugging going on when I meet you the first time. So this is your warno. So so this week we're going to kind of go and talk on a slightly familiar subject. Last year, so this time, 9/11 is going to be on Sunday, and we're going to kind of go back in time a little bit and talk about it like we did last year. We did a 2-part episode on 9/11. We talked about what happened that day, and then we talked about the legacy and after effects of that. We're not going to do a 2-parter today. We're going to just do a 1-part, kind of talk about a slightly different aspect of it that's related to it. Kind of just have a little bit of a conversation and remembrance, and just kind of think back and reflect. So one of the nickname or the actual name for 9/11, besides 9/11 itself, that has the actual holiday is called Patriots Day. So this episode 042 of the Battle Bros podcast, is entitled Patriots. In that honor. What exactly is a patriot? So I found a couple of good definitions. A patriot is, for the first definition, it is described as a person who vigorously supports their country and is prepared to defend it against enemies or detractors. The other definition I found says that it is someone who loves, supports, and defends their country and interests. This was the most important part, was it said with devotion. And I think devotion brings up a very kind of conjures up some good images of people that are serving their country and whatnot. And I immediately, besides our generation, the global war on terror generation, I kind of look at it as World War II. I mean, think about it. There's a lot, and if you think about the two of those separately, there's a lot of comparisons there that can be drawn. But there's also a lot of pretty stone cold similarities. I mean, you think about it. We were both attacked. They were attacked in Pearl Harbor. We got attacked here in New York on September 11th. You had New
York, Washington D.C.,
and Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not trying to neglect all of that.
No.
But yeah, with the spontaneous decision to join World War II by attacking us here in Pearl Harbor, you had how many millions of people that were spurred into military service on their own accord. You had the Conservation Corps, where they were starting recycling drives. You had the war effort, rationing of certain things for the war effort. It was just an amazing time, and it helped to bring us out of the Great Depression during the 30s. After the stock market crash of 29, the Depression happened pretty much all through the 1930s and whatnot, and then you had 1941. So it was a very significant event for a lot of reasons. Fast forward 60 years later, here we are, global war on terrorism. We had the attacks in New York, we had the attack at the Pentagon in D.C., and we had the foiled attack that was taken down, Flight 93, down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. So there's a lot to be said. I mean, how many people, besides the two of us, how many people do you know that joined up because of the events of that, that fateful day? There's a lot to be said for that. And I don't just mean to talk about the military, because yes, they get a lot of credit for it, and it's justified. And I don't mean to sound like I have a big ego or anything, because I'm not just like, yeah, let's keep it coming. That's not what it's all. There's a little bit, trying to have a little bit of humility. Humility. I need to wet the old whistle over here. But think about all of the brave souls that were lost, the patriots that were lost in the collapse of the Twin Towers. You had 343 people that died. Firemen alone in the tower that died. You had something like 60 police officers. You had, I think, eight or so different MS folks.
What was it, like 80% of the deaths in the tower were fucking fire?
For first responders, yeah, there was 343 firemen. Yeah, and it might even be higher than that, dude.
Yeah,
I know the number that you see associated with that a lot is 343. There was, I think, about 60 police officers. A few of them were with the Port Authority Police Department from New Jersey and New York and whatnot.
Two of which actually survived.
Really?
Yeah, the two of the Port Authority officers. Yeah, two of them survived the fucking collapse. That's what the movie. It was kind of cheesy, but it had Nicolas Cage in it,
and Michael
Pena. Yeah. That's a real deal. Like, it would have been 3 had part of the building not collapsed on the guy that was with him.
Right.
So
yeah. not just military and the first responders. They get a lot of credit, but Patriots There's a lot of just regular everyday folks that became patriots. How many people stood in line for hours and hours to donate their time, to donate blood, because they realized they were going to need it? I mean, you had the worst kind of mass casualty event that you could have ever imagined. I mean, it's insane, just to think about. And it's kind of weird this year because this is the 21st anniversary of it. So it's like, if you had a person that was born in or around that time, like they're old enough to go out and buy
a beer,
a firearm, votes, tobacco. Like, you think about that, it's like, damn, dude, like that was just yesterday, man.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, like,
it makes you feel old if you were one of the people that experienced that fucking day.
Never mind this gray shit on the side of my head. Absolutely, that's not reminding me. I'm old. My knees kind of giving out and starting to click when I walk.
There's some grays in here, but you can't tell because I keep shaving it off. Yeah.
There. Wait till it shows up in your facial hair. Yeah, that's a real kick in the ass.
That's gonna be fun.
So yeah, I mean, you have all of these different people. I mean, think back to Patriots in World War II. Let's kind of bring back the comparison there. You had all these folks that maybe they couldn't serve. They might have been stamped a 4F or something, but I'm sure they found other ways to serve. You had all of these different offshoots. You started to see women getting involved in the military. You had the WAC, the Women's Army Corps. You had the Women's Air Service Pilots, the WASPs. You also had the Navy equivalent, which is called WAVES, although I'm not 100% certain what that stands for. Forgive me. But you saw, and look at, and this is kind of a current event too. We just had, kind of, we'll get back to this in the current events and whatnot, because it's just kind of happened the other day. But Queen Elizabeth II passed away on Thursday, longest serving monarch in British history, 70 years on the throne. But she was also, you go back and look at some of the historical pictures of her and whatnot. She did a lot of, she served during World War II for the British war effort.
She sure the hell did. She was only 17.
Yeah, like that's kind of like, that's crazy, man. So, but anyway, so Patriots can be a lot of, it can take on a lot of different meanings and kind of different ways that you can become a patriot and whatnot. What did you want to add to that, there, brother?
No, I mean, you definitely have to take into account that there were a lot of civilians that actually were. Like, you think about what was the name of the head of security in the towers that actually went around trying to fucking save lives that day, man?
Yeah, he was a army officer, or he was like a retired cop or something?
He was retired army.
I think, and
that much I remember.
He was, I think, the security guy for Charles Schwab or something, like one of the big companies. Let me see if I can.
And I mean. Say what you will, man, but like, he inspired people that day after that. You know what I mean? He inspired a lot of people. And if you think about just like the aftermath of what happened, you think about how galvanized we were as a country. Everybody wanted to try and do something to contribute to help. Everybody wanted to, you had the people that wanted to directly, get involved by going to war. You had people that were, back at home, doing, cleanup work and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you had firefighters from literally all over the freaking country going to ground zero to assist. And it's amazing when you think about just how much effort was put into, recovering from one day. One, I guess you could say, day that will live in infamy. It's amazing, and I wish, God, I wish we could get back to where we were then. I don't think it sucks, but I don't think we can. I don't think we've been as unified as a country as we were after 9/11. And and that's not to say that, you know, during World War II, because we were attacked, you know, but the, it's almost like, you know, America found, or the United States found it found its fighting spirit again during that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
And
and
and I
oh,
missed that.
you know, and there's a lot of patriotic imagery that came out of the days, weeks, months, and even years after that, and it's like that's forever going to be ingrained in, our memory of that day. And I saw this great commercial one time. I remember seeing this on TV, and
Yeah.
it had a you had to just Main Street USA with all these houses going down the street like this, and it said they tried to change our country, and it just had words on a black screen. It said they tried to change our country, and then it goes back to the same street, and the first screen, one house had an American flag flying proudly in front of it, off the one of the front porch, the columns off the front porch. And you go back to that same street image, and every single house had an American flag, and it says, and then afterwards, the words came back on the screen. It said, "They did," and it's like, yeah, they sure did. The divisiveness wasn't there, and this is not, me and Al. This is not us trying to get, politically, you know, agitated or riled up or nothing, but like there was just a lot more. It took that amount of tragedy to have us all come together and just be like, we weren't Republicans, we weren't Democrats, we weren't this, we weren't that. We were all Americans, and we were all part of that together. And I think that's something that's like, over the last 21 years, we've kind of lost that. We've had things happen where we've changed, and we've kind of gone our own ways. And as absolutely tragic and horrifying and just downright shitty that day was, there were some really awesome,
The
things that happened as a result of it for the positive. I mean, go ahead,
the
dude.
the one thing that, here's what got me is, like, there was one ad, and I don't remember where it aired. I'm pretty sure it was a Super Bowl ad the following year, but it was the Budweiser ad that
With the Clydesdales. Yeah,
And
I remember that.
Actually, I almost want to share it on the screen right now, just because you get so much just from that. Like, I think it's like 72-second like commercial.
Yeah,
like 70 fucking 2 seconds. Like, actually, let me see. I think it's
I found that guy's name, by the way. We'll bring that up after you do this stuff or whatever.
Yar.
But yeah, I mean, and I'll kind of keep chatting here for a minute while you're doing what you're doing. But you kind of, it's just so funny. Not funny, but you talk about, it's the similarities between stuff. Like my dad, when he talks about some of the defining moments in his life, and he talks about being in middle school. I think he was in middle school in his band class, and some guy walked in off the street and was like, "Hey, man, they just shot and killed President Kennedy." And he's like, "Dude, like, you want to talk about like some just heavy stuff?" He's like, "Man, that was just strange. It was surreal kind of stuff." This is like for us. I mean, not to get too much into the stories. And by the way, if you want to hear not to shamelessly plug our show, but if you want to go back and hear our conversation on this, I believe it's episodes 10 and 11, I think
so. Yeah, I think it was episodes 10 and 11. Yeah.
The only issue is that episode 10 does not show up on our Spotify account because we had an issue where the audio cut out. So you'll have to watch them both on YouTube, or at least listen to them from YouTube, even if you're not watching, like if you're in your car or whatnot. But yeah, we talk about episode 10 was 20 years after the fact of 9/11 happening, and then episode 11 was the aftermath and the legacy of it.
Yeah.
So pretty good conversation. I'm proud of this.
I found the commercial.
Let's do it. Let's show it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Sharing time.
So if you're not actually, watching our podcast, I'm sorry, but go back and watch it, or at least look up the commercial. So, all right, dude. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Like that's good stuff. Well, and
Yeah.
the other crazy thing too. Fix the camera angle, dude, because you can see it. There you go. That's better. I don't need people seeing it. Yes, my backdrop is a whoopee pinned up on my kitchen. So like, come at me, bro. Anyway, no, but like, dude, it's just the craziest little things you just remember from that. Like, you know, how, President Bush became a wartime president in a matter of seconds. He was down here in Sarasota visiting an elementary school, and some guy walked in and said, we got a situation. And instantaneously, he became a wartime president. And then, like, I remember, like, they didn't film Saturday Night Live. They took like a 1 or 2 week hiatus from that, and then when they came back on the air, like the opening montage, instead of having a skit, they had Rudy Giuliani come out with a New York City policeman and New York City fireman, and they were like, pretty much like, hey, we need to laugh again, we need to move on and do all that kind of stuff. But not only that, one of the other images I remember watching was President Bush coming out at Yankee Stadium, not escorted by Secret Service, just coming out there, throwing out that first pitch, and just kind of helping to get the nation back on its feet and stuff. And like I said, I'm not here to talk about politics. You either like him, you don't like him, whatever. I mean, the fact of the matter is, he was president at that time, and just to see the country rally together and whatnot, it was a sight to behold. It was very, very very defining at that time. So
Yeah.
But yeah, like the 21, like that was 21 years ago, man. Somebody born near that time, like they can buy alcohol and tobacco. It's like,
Yep.
Fuck, I'm old.
Yeah.
It's like,
I knew someone. I know someone when I went to the police academy. I know someone that was literally born a month before the towers got hit. Yeah.
You're just like, crap. Anyway, so
yeah,
and you could even take that argument one step further, a little bit closer to home. A patriot, the kind of still people that do stuff for their community. I know a patriot kind of means more, on the national sense, like with their country and whatnot. But you have patriots in the community. Folks that go out there, first responders, cops, firemen.
I think we learned very well. I think we learned very well from frickin' Jerry that, hey, you don't have to serve your country to serve your country. You can serve your community, and that'll extend outwards, and you're still serving your country.
Dude, that's a slogan right there. You don't have to serve your country to serve your country. Like, damn, you get somebody hardcore. Get Morgan Freeman or James Earl Jones to say that, man, you got some shit right there. It's like, absolutely. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, oh, by the way, the guy you were talking about, his name was Richard Cyril Riscoria.
Riscoria, yes.
Yeah, he was Morgan Stanley's vice president of security. And so let's see here. He was born in Hale, England in 1939. He served with the British Army in Cyprus and northern Rhodesia. In 1963, he immigrated to the U.S. and joined the Army. After graduating from OCS, he fought in Vietnam as the 2nd Louis with 2nd Battalion, 7th Cavalry from 1965 to 1966. The following year, he became an American citizen. When the World Trade Center was attacked in 93, Riscoria was the vice president for corporate security at Dean Witter Morgan Stanley.
I forgot he was there for the first attack, too.
And he led the company's evacuation that day. Convinced that the terrorists would return, Riscoria created and stringently rehearsed a disaster contingency plan for the company, colleagues, and family. On September 11th, he again supervised the evacuation of Morgan Stanley's employees from the burning building. Among the 13 Morgan Stanley employees and consultants who were unable to exit the building safely was Riscoria. He was last seen climbing up the stairs to make a final sweep for other employees minutes before the building toppled. His actions that day are credited with thousands of lives. Riscoria epitomized the soldier's code: leave no man behind. I'm telling you, man, we got to go up there and see all that shit. Like, especially with you being from New York, like I don't need to have a tour guide. Like, you can just take me around all the spots and all the good places to go get some food and stuff. Like, gotta go over to the Bronx and get some like get all that good stuff. So, but yeah, that's kind of what I want to say on that. You have some other stuff that you were kind of looking up for Patriots. So why don't you give me what you found before we might have to move our time hack a little bit, but let's go over what you talked about with Patriot stuff.
Okay, so little known Revolutionary War Patriot. Okay, so there's a guy.
We're going way back. Okay.
Oh yeah, Revolutionary War. And he is a Patriot soldier on the Revolutionary War side, on the United States side. This man's name was Salem Poor. It's just like as if you were poor on the side of the street. Salem Poor. And here I found this reference actually on history.com. For those of you less learned folk, it's the History Channel's website. It says here, Salem Poor began his life as a Massachusetts slave and ended it as an American hero. Born into bondage in the late 1740s, he purchased his own freedom 2 decades later for 27 pounds. We'd have to see how much that is nowadays. The equivalent, there you go. The equivalent of a few $1,000s. I'm talking about the exact though. Today, soon after, Poor joined the fight for independence. Enlisting multiple times, he is believed to have fought in the battles of Saratoga and Monmouth. He's most famous, however, for his heroism at the Battle of Bunker Hill, where his contributions so impressed fellow soldiers that after the war ended, 14 of them formally recognized his excellent battle skills with a petition to the General Court of Massachusetts. In it, they called him out as a brave and gallant soldier, saying he behaved like an experienced officer.
Hey, let me interrupt real quick. What year was that? I'm actually looking up. I found a historical currency converter. So while you're doing that, it was 27 pounds sterling.
The Battle of Bunker Hill, I believe, was 17.
No. When he bought his freedom.
When he bought his freedom.
Yeah.
It says loosely kind of like the 1740s. So we could probably ballpark it like 1745.
And then you said it was $27, 27 pounds?
27 pounds.
Okay, so let me just look around here. Keep going, keep reading. I'll look this up. So
Poor is credited in the battle with killing British Lieutenant Colonel James Abercrombie, along with several other enemy soldiers. You want to talk about someone who not only kind of lived the American values of like freaking, living that free life and kind of, making a name for himself. Like, I mean, you can't get better stories than that, man. Mm-hmm. Another one that we have also was, we also looked up Robert Smalls. This was actually
Interesting story on that guy, man.
We need to. There needs to be a movie made on this guy, and it's funny
nobody
too,
would believe it, dude.
Yeah, it's funny too because you know what's even funnier is that he kind of looks like Jordan Peele. So I feel like Jordan, if they had made a movie about him.
Wait. What?
Jordan Peele.
Hold on.
Yes.
I'm gonna pull it. Oh my god! Yeah, he does. Jordan Peele could play this guy.
Fuck yeah!
That's kind of cool. I just saw that.
Petition Jordan Peele to play Mr. Smalls in the Civil War epic.
Yes. That'd be badass. That would be so badass. Anyway, continue. My
bad. Okay, so it says here he was a former slave, sailor, and get this, folks, he became a congressman. This is kind of one of the few little known stories about the Civil War. Not a lot of people know about it unless they're kind of like a well-learned historian or just history buffs, like me and Mac are, who have not a lot of time on our hands, so we look shit like this up.
It's called being a nerd. I fly my freak flag freely.
And it says here, Robert Smalls was born into slavery in Beaufort, South Carolina on April 5th, 1839. His mother, Lydia Polite, was a slave owned by Henry McKee, who may have been Smalls' father. Whoa. Very common back then, actually, for many slave masters to have illegitimate children with the slave women. It's an unfortunate thing that kind of happened back then. But continuing the story, Robert's mother had grown up in the fields, and while he now worked in the house with her, she feared Robert would grow up without knowing the plight of the slaves forced to work in the fields on the plantation. She showed him the full horrors of slavery, making him witness the whippings of the field hands, which were a frequent occurrence. After seeing the brutality of slavery, Robert grew defiant and frequently found himself in the Beaufort jail. His mother feared for his safety, so she arranged with McKee to send Robert to Charleston, where he would work as a laborer. At the age of 12, Smalls had $1 a week. Whoa. I feel like that's not a lot of money even for back then. With the rest of his wage sent back to his master. Smalls worked many jobs, mostly in and around Charleston Harbor. On December 24th, 1856, Robert married Hannah Jones, an enslaved hotel maid. With her owner's permission, they moved in together and had 2 children, Elizabeth and Robert Jr. Smalls saved money and attempted to buy the freedom of his new family, but Hannah's owner demanded $800 for her freedom. Robert knew as long as he and his family were in chains, they could not be sure of a future together, and it would have taken them years to save enough money. Smalls promised his wife they would one day escape from slavery. After the war broke out, Robert was assigned to the Planter, a Confederate military cargo transport. Smalls piloted the Planter around Charleston Harbor, gaining the confidence and trust of the black crew members and the 3 white officers. Knowing the crew trusted him, Smalls devised a plan of escape. One night, when the officers left to sleep ashore, Smalls and the crew took ship. Smalls piloted the ship out of the harbor and surrendered the Planter and its cargo to the Union Navy. He also volunteered his knowledge of Charleston's defenses, leading to the capture of Coles Island a week after his escape. Dude. Rear Admiral Samuel Francis Dupont wrote that Robert is superior to any who have come into our lines, intelligent as many of them have been. The people of the North celebrated Smalls and his crew. Congress awarded them half of the value of the Planter as prize money. Smalls traveled to Washington to meet the President Abraham Lincoln, where he helped to persuade Lincoln to permit black men to serve for the Union Army. Now, there's from here on, you think about where he's been, he commandeered a ship, decided to kind of tear ass that freaking what, like he basically played spy for the Union Army for some time, and then kind of just, you know, ended up kind of gaining like, you know, trust with the Union Army, even to the point of like meeting with the president and persuading him to allow black at the time slaves to serve in the Union Army, and, you know, pretty much become free men. Of course, they had to fight. So I mean, hey, free, as you know, fat electrician once said. But
listen, okay, stop. If you do not listen, for all the folks out there that like satire and sarcasm and the veteran and military stuff, if you haven't seen Fat Electrician on YouTube, you should go check that shit out, because his stuff is amazing. You could just sit there, like the videos are only like 3 minutes long, but you can just sit there and giggle, piss your pants. Like, it's fucking great.
Yep,
it's so good. So check this out. So
yes.
I looked up historical pound sterling to dollars. So in 1745, we said we have 27 pounds. In this day and age, it would be worth about $7,737 and some change.
So a lot of money.
So, but I also found something else that was kind of badass. No, that's not it. Damn it. Oh, I lost the damn thing here. Hold on a second. Crap. No. Oh, well. Like, it was saying, it actually, I found a website where it said, 27 pounds could have bought you this, and this during that time. Like, it was like 5 cows. I'm like, oh, okay. Kind of cool. It's like some Oregon Trail looking stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, you got Patriots of all shapes and sizes. I mean, everybody will probably think of, synonymous Patriot, the meaning of Patriot being synonymous with guys like George Washington, Abe Lincoln. And, George Washington, it kind of brings up an interesting point, because was he, he was a patriot, yes, but he didn't really have a country to be a patriot for. But the idea of this country, you could argue that point all day long and then some. So, but
the ideas of a United States is what drove them all.
The rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, man. All that stuff you should be learning in your social studies classes in school nowadays, kids. Pay the fuck attention. So, yeah, that's we don't want to go too far into it. Like we said, this is a day of remembrance and reflection for the awful events of 21 years ago on Sunday. And it's kind of getting to the point now where, like, my daughter, she's 8. I'm gonna, start talking to her about, what happened, because she started asking a bunch of questions about stuff. But, I'm
gonna be honest. The boys asked, and I just showed them. Like, I watched like a National Geographic documentary. I let them watch all the videos. Obviously, they didn't show anything, but they had questions like, "Whoa, like why did that happen?" Or why did they attack us? Or oh my gosh, what happened to the people? Well, son,
history is the best teacher, and especially with the age that we live in, where everything's on, YouTube. YouTube can be a pretty awesome resource if you use it appropriately and correctly.
Oh, yeah. So. Absolutely. And the crazy thing is like, I look at history and I look at the people in it. Like, this is why I'm a huge fan of history for one very specific reason. One very specific reason in general is that, I mean, there's so many comparisons you can make.
Spit it out.
There's so many comparisons you can make just to say modern times and everything else to what has happened in the past. And the people that say otherwise be damned, okay? I don't care what anybody says. History is one of the best teachers on the fucking planet to let you know how modern ethics should work. And if you don't understand or believe that, then you need to reevaluate your situation, and you need to reevaluate the life that you're living. Because if we do not take the lessons from history seriously, we are damned to repeat them. And it's one of those serious matters that, I personally, I'm going to get up.
that you get up on a soapbox for, like right now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do
Good.
not. Yeah, I do not. I take history extremely seriously. If you look
In
back,
the words of the great Alamo, I gives a fuck. I'm gonna tell you how I feel.
damn right. Because I mean, think about it. You look at how you look at where our country is now. You look at back where our country was, in the beginning, and then you compare. Now, there are many empires that came and that have come and gone in the world, right? Each one of them lasting millennia. The United States is probably one of the fastest accelerating freaking like political systems ever to be known to man. Specifically because we modified systems from both the Greek and the Roman, as well as the I believe it was the European models that were set up at the time. It's kind of like an extrapolation of all three of those different political systems, and and they were mashed together. Something that a lot of people do not freaking realize. This is why I say educate yourselves on your history.
And especially, and I'm going to take that one step further, especially when you have, like when you have people like a good friend of ours, Bruce Burnham, who was just the best history teacher, man. He was an institution at our high school.
Damn fucking straight.
He made history so much fun. Like when you took his world history honors class, and I took his history of Vietnam War 9 weeks course, and like, yeah, that's some awesome stuff. And it's just, especially when you can learn about it that way. Like he did a very good job of just being very transparent, presenting both sides of the story, from this angle, from that angle. The only time he didn't was when he talked about Vietnam. He was had a very different stance on that because he was there. He lived that. Just like somebody asked me about Afghanistan, I'm going to be as honest I can be, but I'm going to also tell you forthcoming. Thank you. I'm going to be as forthcoming as I can be, but I'm also going to tell you, like, here's what's great, here's what sucks. Just like I'm sure you can with your time in Iraq.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, absolutely. We need to pay attention to history and learn from it, and it's kind of interesting to see things go back now and how they end up in textbooks, and anyway, I'm gonna stop before I get into the weeds here. But so one of the other things we want to talk about, there's some current events kind of related to what we were talking about today. So I was doing, looking online, and one of the current events that I saw. So for anybody in the GWAT generation, like I was, and Alamo here was, so we went to basic training. The one ribbon you get from basic training usually is that little rainbow ribbon, the Army service ribbon and stuff. Well, later on, it ended up being Army service and then the National Defense. You okay there, dude? You okay there?
Well, no, I was gonna say I have my uniform top right over here. I was gonna show the ribbon, but it's all right.
Oh, grab it if you want. I don't care. But yeah, so you have the Army service, you have, and then they started issuing the National Defense Service medals, which they call the pizza stain because it's red, yellow, and white, and a little bit of blue and stuff in it. Well, they just announced the DoD will not be issuing that past 31 December of this year. As of 1 January of 2023, they will no longer be issuing. The eligibility for that ribbon is now closed. So Alamo's going to point out to it. Oh, look at them greens. Oh, I don't know, man. Right? Like the greens look good. Yeah. So you have, there's a rainbow ribbon, and then you've got the National Defense, which is the second ribbon in the middle ribbon of the middle row, that yellow and red one right there. That's no longer being awarded. That's no longer. They're closing the eligibility. They're kind of putting it back into pseudo retirement, so to speak.
Iraq campaign.
That's also been closed. And, it's funny. I was doing the research on this, and I looked it up, and it's like, I don't know why I didn't think about it. But last year when Afghanistan, when that happened on 31 August, that was the last date of eligibility because we pulled out. And I'm like, oh, yeah, why didn't I think of that? So it's kind of weird to see the campaign medal that you were awarded for your service now being not awarded.
Discontinued.
You're just like, fuck, I'm really getting old. Like, holy shit, man.
Fucking A.
Yeah. So, But they also have new ribbons now too. They have like the Inherent Resolve campaign ribbon, which is kind of a little bit, for the other stuff going on. They still have open eligibility for the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, but the Service Medal eligibility has now changed. It's not going to be automatic.
Yeah.
According to this is an article I found on Military Times. So it says here, signaling the end of a 21-year era, the DoD has told military services to sharply restrict the award of the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal beginning September 11th, according to a memo obtained by Military Times. The June 24 memo, signed by the Undersecretary of the Department of Defense's Undersecretary for Personnel and Readiness, also limits award of the Inherent Resolve campaign medal to just troops who serve on the ground in Syria or operate within 12 nautical miles of its coast or airspace. And that policy went into effect on January 1st. The GWAT Service Medal has been a virtually automatic award for troops since its introduction in 2003. The Army determined in 2004 that all active duty troops who served after September 11th of 2001 merited the award because they all served in some way in support of that campaign. But it's now like it's kind of weird. It's like it's kind of all this stuff is changing away. Like, do you remember that they were trying to come out? They had an award they were trying to come up with. I was doing when I was doing research on this, I remember seeing this. They had the Distinguished Warfare Medal.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to push that, and people were calling it the Nintendo Medal because it was for folks that were it was a warfare campaign medal, but for guys that were all drone operators and stuff. And that's why I ended up getting the nickname the Nintendo Medal. So nice. It was originally put in by Defense Secretary Panetta, and then when Defense Secretary Hagel came in for the next term, he kind of put the kibosh to that quickly, and they have since changed that to where they now have new devices that are authorized for certain medals. They have a C, so like you can award an ARCOM or an Army Achievement Medal for with a C device, which means it is related for combat service, and you can also award some similar things with the letter R, with an R device for being attached for. Sorry, let me back up. Rewind. The R device signifies that the award was awarded to personnel for operating in a remote capacity. So you can still get folks. You could have like a drone pilot who could potentially get an air medal, be awarded an air medal with an R device for being there in a remote capacity with like flying a drone and whatnot. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But so yeah, it's like the end of the era is kind of really winding down now. I mean, think about how many uniform changes we've gone through. We started off with BDUs, and we had ACUs, now we've got the multicams, we've got the OCPs, and then we also started off with the greens, which you had with the greens are always going to be special to me, man. Just always.
Yeah,
the greens are special. And then we went to the blue service uniform, which
the greens were in service from what,
1970 something.
Was it 70 something?
I'll look it up. Army Green Service uniform. Let's see, Heather. Oh wait, no, I'm looking up the wrong thing. It's showing me the new one, the pinks and greens. I just need to put green uniform on it. Whoops. Army green uniform. Let's see here. Oh, where the hell is it? I don't know. I want to say it's probably like the 30s, man. Like not. I'm sorry, 30. It was sometime, I think, like following Vietnam. I think it was like in the 70s or something.
I thought it was like the 60s.
Maybe you might be right.
I think it was like the 60s.
As we
Like the
struggle.
early 60s.
I think I found it somewhere I can look it up. So,
Durka.
Muhammad Jihad. Let me see. Pal dress. No, United States Army.
Oh man, I just found an article that basically says a high school called Butler High in Louisville, Kentucky, in honor of the 9/11 victims, has laid flags. They basically planted flags in the ground um, for the 21st anniversary of 9/11.
Really?
Yeah, that's like that's pretty fucking dope, man. That they're actually allowing the kids to actually go in and do some recognition there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of people that died for no damn reason.
Yeah, man.
It's like, come on, dude. We gotta do right by these people.
Absolutely, bro.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me see if I can find.
You still looking that one up?
Yeah, because it's bugging me, dude. I should know this stuff. Like, geez, I was in the damn army. I should know this for crap, for God's sakes.
Now you know how I feel a lot of the days.
So it's the green Class A uniform, which was worn. Let's see. Where the hell is it?
Jersey is holding a remembrance memorial in honor in honor of Engine 9 Ladder 33. I believe Ladder 33 engine. What was it? Engine 33 or or Ladder 33. They were the ones that pretty much lost every guy in the towers, right?
Yeah, they had you see their picture of their
Damn.
engine or their truck going across a bridge, and like that's the last known picture of them because they all perished. Yeah. So according to this, the green Class A uniform was fully retired in October of 2015.
Yes.
They went to the blues. They went to the blues at that time. That's when it was mandatory. They started fielding that in 2010.
The dresses, blueses.
Yeah, I didn't care for those. I mean, the pink, the green service uniform is dope. Like it's a good throwback.
It's back to World War II, man. That's the good old World War II era days, man.
Yeah, dude.
Those uniforms were the shit.
But awesome.
To current events today, though, man. Like, I mean, honestly, bro, like I honestly think, like, with everything going on nowadays, and people making comparisons to 9/11, with stupid, silly, freaking little arguments that they've been making, like comparing certain things to 9/11, where people aren't even dying. I find the state of the world in a current state of craziness that I don't think I've ever witnessed in my lifetime, nor have I actually observed in studies during history. I like to be frank, without being too abrasive. But I think there's a heavy lack of common sense lately, in our world and specifically in our country. Not just on one side, but on many. Like I say, both, on the political spectrum. I have kind of remained fairly politically independent for the most part. I have my biases. I'm not going to say them here on the show because I don't feel like we need to get into that. But
no, Hopefully, people are watching us because we don't get into that, and it's like we don't want them going. We don't want them going. Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
By the way, I found the date. It was 1954 to 2015.
Booyah! Yeah.
So
Booyah!
it was right after the end of Korea.
Yeah. Right before freaking. And I think the shirts were actually still tan then. Actually, back then, before they transitioned to the green.
Yeah, I think so too. There were some slight alterations, things that happened there. So, what do you say, pal? You ready to wrap it up?
I think we're good. We'll just close out with one last statement. Freaking, honestly, 9/11. We need to remember it, guys. Not just for the reasons of most of the guys that and gals that watch this. I mean, hell, we all lived it. But we need to remember it for our children's sakes. We need to explain it to our kids. I'm going to say it in a blunt way. History's a motherfucker. And if we don't fucking be careful, it's going to come back and bite us in the ass. Things a la Adolf Hitler, things a la Stalin, things a la Mao. These are all, for those, again, unlearned folks who don't study history, those are all dictators in their own respective countries. Many of themselves having been disillusioned by the idea that they were the patriot of their times, trying to serve their freaking nation and trying to do things that the way they thought was the right way, but was in many ways truly, truly, truly evil. Evil exists, people. Evil exists. And I'm just going to say we need to stay vigilant. If you guys have a faith, stay prayed up. If you guys are logical, keep yourselves if you guys are more logical thinkers, like I know many people that I know are, use your better judgment through process of elimination. Look at what has worked and look at what hasn't, and you decide from there. But we need to really, really buckle down and kind of evaluate things, man. Patriot Day is a day not only to remember 9/11, but it's also a time to remember that there was guys that came before us that we need to hold respect enough to actually hold to their values and continue to hold to their values. So, me and Mac, I'm not going to say that we've been there and done that, but I mean,
first off, it would be Mac and I, because we don't want to sound like ungrammatical idiots. So, hi,
Mac
Cynthia.
And I, Jesus.
Cynthia said, "History repeats."
Hello, Tista.
Four exclamation points. Like, you damn right.
Yeah. But again, myself and Mac, we've been around the block enough to know that shit rolls downhill. And, we need to educate, again, we need to educate our kids. We need to educate our families. We need to educate our friends around us. Because, again, history repeats itself. Thanks for that pun there, sister.
Get it!
So, yeah, that's all I got, man.
Cool. So, in the spirit of Patriots Day coming up, hey, sorry, your sisters are all great, man. You come from a great family, dude. It's awesome.
Anytime. We come from great stock.
Card stock, like, huh? So, kind of wrapping it up as we always do. We have this show because of some tragedy that happened in our personal life. We have a friend of ours that was lost way before his time by solving a temporary problem with a permanent solution. So, not only just for John today, but for all the folks out there, we're gonna kind of we're gonna do the bros code up, and we're gonna do it kind of Patriots Day style. So,
bros it up.
When you kind of feel a little bit down and you're having a hard time keeping yourself going, just remember the bros code. Okay, BROS, and you'll be fine. So be tenacious. Be like Robert Smalls, be like Salem Poor, like all these guys that were just like, this guy bought his own freedom. This guy was,
Smalls had a very freaking illustrious fucking political career too.
Like, yeah, the guy was no chump. Like seriously, he went out and did a whole bunch of stuff. Be
U.S.
tenacious,
congressman, man.
Be like all the people that stood up and said, "I'm going to do my part." You don't have like Alamo so illustriously said earlier. You don't have to serve your country. Serve your country. Yep, that should be on a damn t-shirt, man. Seriously, let's get that. So be tenacious. Go out there and do the best you can do. If you can't serve, donate blood. If you can't do something for the greater good, do what you can in your smaller wedge of the pie. Do something in your community. Go out there and be the best parent. You can be the best citizen. Pass on your knowledge and your wisdom to your kids. It's kind of interesting. It was so fun to see. To relate it to me personally. So,
you say that, and it just makes me think of something like that I've been thinking about. And I'll shut up. I swear to God.
No, you won't, but go ahead.
You don't have to love what your country has done to love where the fuck you come from. You don't have to love what your country has done to love where the fuck you come from. But damn it, love your damn country, because we are a people that come from many different backgrounds, many different mistakes. Let's put it that way. Okay? This is just for messages for people who are out there otherwise that, need to hear it. I know I know our audiences, they get this.
They probably don't watch our show.
I know. I'm just saying though. The message needs to be shared though. You don't have to love what our country has done to love our country. At the end of the day, hey, your prerogative's your prerogative.
So like I was saying, be tenacious. Like this guy right here who won't shut up. He's just like, I'm going to put this in. Fucking way, dude. I love you. Anyway, be tenacious. Go out and do the best you can. Do what you can. Don't give 110%, because give 100% that you can. Yes. Like Cynthia just said in our chat here, love the people in your country. Be kind to them. Yep.
Damn right.
Be a good person. Be a good Christian or whatever faith you follow. Just do what you can. Be tenacious. Whatever that looks like, that comes in many different forms. Refuse to surrender. Where the hell would we be as a military, as a nation, if we just gave up and caved after 9/11? We refused to surrender.
Where would we be if we gave up during the Revolutionary War?
Because there's a long line of guys that stood up and in some way, shape, or form said, "Oh, fuck no. Not on my watch. No." I don't think so. So refuse to surrender. There's going to be times when things get difficult. When there's all those colloquialisms and cliches that you can say when the going get tough, the tough get going. But
no. When the tough get going, the tough get tougher.
You said you were going to shut up and let me end the show, so just be quiet, okay? Just be quiet. Let me wrap. We're already over an hour. Let me just wrap this up. It's hush, okay?
Yar.
Because I had a train of thought going, and you just derailed that shit into the mud. Exactly. There's going to be a lot of things that happen where, like you said, there's a lot of people that have come before us and said, no, not going to happen here. So refuse to surrender. I mean,
not on my watch, bitch.
Look at the folks in World War II. That happened, that kind of were called into service or called into action. We'll just kind of use a more generic, generalized term, called into action after the attack on Pearl Harbor. They did not want to surrender. Yes, thank you, Cynthia. I heard him giggling. I'm like, she must have said something great. Yep, he can't shut up. You're damn right. But yeah, whatever happens, just whatever it takes to hit that OBJ, whatever it takes to hit that that X you're trying to get to, refuse to surrender. Obliterate your obstacles. There were a bunch of people that were working down on the pile after 9/11, and it was an obstacle to get through because they realized after a certain point it wasn't about recovery of trying to rescue people. It was just more about recovering remains and whatnot.
Yeah,
and they had this giant obstacle of the rubble pile.
What's sad is only parts of people got fucking picked up too, man.
Yeah,
like most anybody that was in there was obliterated.
Yeah,
literally.
But they were also impressed. Like the amount of rubble they were moving out of there every day was just, I mean, you're talking trucks and trucks and trucks of just stuff they were moving out, sifting through to find remains here and there. Yeah. And there's people that they'll never will found. Yeah. But they obliterated that. It was amazing how fast, within like a year afterwards, that was all cleaned up. And it wasn't even like, maybe it was maybe 9 months, but like there was an obstacle and they said, no, it's not getting in the way. They refused to let it, beat them. So they obliterated that stuff. Sometimes you have things in your way. You have a wall. Sometimes you have to scale the wall. Sometimes you have to dig under the wall. Sometimes you have to kind of sidestep around it. Sometimes you make a door. Sometimes if there's not a door, you blast a doorway into the wall with some C4 and some Bangalores, or in the case of Chuckles over here, sometimes you just go oops and back a damn striker into the damn thing. So whatever. Damn so right. Whatever the obstacles are, obliterate them and get them out of your way. S, seek help from in a time of need. As we mentioned earlier, we've mentioned every other show, our dear friend John was lost way before his time. He chose to he unfortunately solved a permanent or a temporary problem with a permanent solution. And if he was still here, we would not have that show. And that's not going to change. He's not here. We're going to talk about him and bring honor and memory and remember his name. There are a lot of venues. If you can't reach out to somebody, whether it's, a battle buddy, somebody you served with, a family member, a coworker, somebody from the gym, whatever, reach out, talk to them. If you don't have the ability to do that, there are resources out there. You can always reach out. If you're kind of feeling yourself going on that dark path, there is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, which you can reach in one of two ways. The established way is the 800 number, which is 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. Starting in January of this year, they now have a 3-digit prefix you can dial, 988. That's 988. What's great about that is you can call or text, and they will have somebody reach out to you, hopefully within a very short amount of time. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get help. We all deserve to be here. We all have a story to tell, and you can't pass along your wisdom and your knowledge to the next generation about history if you're not here. So
that's right.
That's very important. Cynthia just said you can feel the presence of people lost at the original footprints of the Twin Towers. I was like, I bet.
We're gonna have a Battle Bros.
We're gonna have to go out there, man.
What you call it? Eventually out there.
Road trip.
Yep.
Broad trip.
A broad trip.
It's kind of like how people say when they go like the battlefield at Gettysburg, there's just all that just like energy there.
There's a heaviness there is what I heard.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. So, all right, I'm going to hand it off here to Baldy, and he's going to close us out and plug all the social media shit.
All the social medias. Yep. All right, y'all.
Cynthia, thanks for jumping on the chat. Appreciate it. Love you.
Absolutely. Love you, sis. So if you want to catch us on the social medias, you can do that over at the Facebook at facebook.com/BattleBros.podcast. And you can always contact us via the WhatsApp. All you have to do is click that little green button icon, the little WhatsApp icon down at the bottom of our screen, right there on our Battle Bros Facebook page. And you could leave us a voice message. You could leave us a text message.
Yeah.
And you can even, kind of call us there and do whatever.
Except when we're at work. We'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Yeah.
And now this is me putting the foot on the other shoe on the other foot, because now I'm gonna fuck with you while you're just trying to do your.
So you can also contact us at BattleBros_podcast on the Insta, where you can also message us there via the messaging service on the Instagram.
For the folks that don't speak in the young people vernacular, that's the Instagram, not the Insta. I'm thinking Insta coffee. I'm like, I could use it. Just speak the regular talk there, gay.
Listen here, man. I have to be well versed in the youngin' talk, okay?
Your kids aren't even that young to where they're dumb yet. They're younger, like where they're still smart.
Oh, so valid.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. But you can also contact us at
It's usually middle school at that.
Battle. Yes.
I'll shut up.
Yes. You're right. BattleBrosPC@gmail.com, where you can send us an email. You can send us, hey, fuck you, or hey. You can send us, hey, you guys rock, but I want you to show this stuff. Hey, we're here. We're up for any kind of suggestions you give us, not to mention negative and positive feedback. Because
how freaking amazing would it be for somebody to say, you guys don't chew Big Red, so fuck you.
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious. Great reference, by the way. Oh Jesus,
yeah, right?
If you want to see us on any other platforms other than here on the YubTub, you can catch us over on therumble.com, where you can subscribe to us and smash that Rumble button, as well as hit the like, share, as well, and emphasis on the share, by the way, and comment here on the YouTube, so that you can have the algorithm recognize us and share us with other listeners around the world. Also, if you want to catch us on the audio platforms, you can do that over on anchor.com, Spotify, or excuse me, anchor.fm, or the Anchor app, Spotify app, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Amazon Music, Castbox, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Stitcher. Yes, we have a lot of audio platforms, and we're still waiting for that guy, gal, whatever, to find us on Alexa. So you know, just
make as Picard, as the venerable Jean-Luc Picard would say, make it so.
Make it so. Number one.
Just keep going, dude. I did the joke. Go.
So,
guys.
Last but not least, if you would like to support us, you could do that over on the Anchor FM, Anchor.fm app, or you can do that on the Anchor.fm or the Anchor app. All you got to do is click on our page and then tap that little support button and make any donation that you feel like, anything from $1 to whatever custom donation you feel like.
You got to stop being so loud, because I just hear like your brain, your freaking voice is resonating in my brain because you're screaming. Yeah. And I'm sorry for everybody listening in their car who just almost swerved off the road because it was just, what the fuck was that? Goddamn dinosaur came through the window. Holy shnikes. So anyway, folks, thank you again for joining us for episode 042 entitled Patriots. This has been the Battle Bros podcast. We greatly appreciate and humbly thank you for joining us for our discussion on our second discussion on the remembrance of 9/11, the 21st anniversary of that. Take time this weekend to remember everything about that day, how America changed for the better and for the worse. And let's vow not to do that again. Let's try to remember where we came from. Let's try to, pass this knowledge and wisdom on to our kids, show them that, this is something that needs to be remembered. If you are somebody that, likes to indulge in an adult beverage, hey, maybe have one. Not just, so think about this, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet because we're already kind of at the end of the show. But, you talk about all the lives that were lost on that day. Well, think of the lives that were lost since then. All the folks that have died because of injuries, all the first responders that have, the symptomologies of working on the pile, having all the different diseases and all that kind of stuff. Good night, sis. Love you. Think about all the people that have died in the military that died overseas because we then became engaged in two different conflicts. The Afghanistan conflict, the Iraq conflict, all that kind of stuff. You're talking, it's probably close to 10,000 people, not just the 3,000 that died on that day, but then you have the 4,000 that were killed in Iraq. You have close to
7,000 total casualties between Iraq and Afghanistan.
So right at about 10,000 people that have died because of the events of 9/11. So
yeah,
it's insane. So spend time, if you meditate, if you sit there and pontificate or whatnot, just take some time, remember the fallen, remember the folks that have died because of that day. Take stock in what you have, be thankful for it, and we will see you next week. We have 2 more episodes for this season. Then we'll be taking a quick break. Probably not too long, but not too short either. We're going to take probably at least a couple weeks off. Yeah. But thank you so much for joining us for the Battle Bros podcast. On behalf of myself and my co-host Alamo, we want to thank you for joining us. We love you, and we will see you soon. Take time to just remember about everything that we have, everything that we've lost, whether individually or collectively. And just remember, be tenacious, refuse to surrender, obliterate your obstacles, and seek out help in a time of need. If you can do that,
damn right,
you're going to be okay. So we love you, and we'll see you next time on the Battle Bros podcast.
Battle Bros. Ouch.